Hello everyone. So this is the video dedicated for some sample problems for Module 1, wherein the topic is fundamentals of probability and statistics. Right. So I'm going to attach a link in our description for you to get a copy of this PDF file. Right. Because I'm not going to discuss everything here. I will just choose three of these, okay, for demonstration. And also, please know that these sample problems are self-made, based on a few references and with the help of AI as well. These are not yet perfect as there might be some formatting and typographical errors, or maybe a few minor miscalculations. So please bear with us. Feel free to comment. Um, Let us know if there are some um, errors that you have found, or any comment, any feedback that you have for us. Right. So we have these three sample problems that I highlighted. First of which is this one, example number 1.22. I'm going to hide a bit the solution. Right, it's down here. Um, it says a building. Okay, let me highlight. Right. So let me double check if I'm still recording. Okay. So it says building sensor record noise levels. Um, we denote that as letter N in decibel during operation. And the data set is right here. We have 60, 62, 59, 65, 63, 61, 64, 62, 63, and 60. So compute the mean and standard deviation of n, right? So the mean is basically, as you all know, the average of these numbers, right? So we just add them all together and then divide by their sample size. So sample size, this is one sample, so we just count them. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we have a total of 10 items here. Okay, so 10 sample points in all in all. So add them together and then divide by 10, that is 61.9. And since the unit is decibel, so we use that unit, right? And that's for the mean. We now have the mean as 61.9 decibels. Now, the other one being asked in this problem is the standard deviation. So, for the standard deviation, we have to construct this table, because the formula for this the population standard deviation. So, just in case you wonder why we consider this as a population, um, although supposedly the symbol for this is mu, the right symbol. But since we have letter N, I guess this is acceptable in a way, right? So standard deviation, this is a population because it was not mentioned that this is only a portion of a certain population. So meaning this is all. This is complete already. It's not a portion only. So it's a population, not a sample. Okay, so now we use the population standard deviation formula because if we have the sample standard deviation, we have minus 1 here. Okay, n minus 1 instead of n. But since we consider this as a population, so the formula for that is this one. Okay, so basically we need the sum of all the the difference between the sample points and the mean. And we have the mean already, 61.9. So we're going to create a table where we list all the excess, meaning all the sample points or the data points. And then on the second column, we have the x minus mu. So we subtract from each data point 60 minus 61.9, that is negative 1.9. Same thing here, 62 minus 61.9, that is 0.1. Okay. For each result, we square them on the next column. So, for example, this is negative 1.9. If you square that, that's 3.61. And we have 0.1. If you square that, that's 0.01. Okay, so just continue this process until you have taken all the um the values here, or you have completed this table. Okay. On the third column, take the sum of all the values here, and you get the sum, this one, the sum of x minus mu quantity squared. Okay. Um, okay, that's why I said this should be mu instead. And also this technically this is small letter x. Okay, just to be consistent with the textbooks and most um online references. Right? So now that we have the sum, we substitute it here. So that's 32.9. 32.9 substitute here. And then we have the n, which is 10, the sample size. So if you compute that, that would be all 1.8138 decibels. Okay, but if we're looking for the population variance, then no need for the square root. Okay, that's for the first example. We continue with the second one below. So it says in a PWM circuit, the pulse durations T are 16, 11, 12, 18, 13, 17, 12, 10, and 14, and 15. Now we have the related parameter called frequency, and it is derived by using this formula. It's just the reciprocal of the pulse duration. So the pulse frequency is just the reciprocal of the pulse duration. Okay, so we are asked to compute the range, the Q1, the median, and the IQR for T, as well as the range and standard deviation for F. Okay, so let's try. Now, the range is the simplest measure of dispersion. We just take the difference between the maximum value and the minimum value, right? So the maximum value is, if you look at this data set, the maximum value, including 15, the maximum value is 18, while the minimum value is 10. Right? So just take the difference between the two. Therefore, the range now is 18 minus 10, that's 8 microseconds. So just in case you wonder why microseconds, um, this has not been mentioned, but these pulse durations are actually in microseconds. It was not just mentioned, right? So that's another flaw that we must correct in the next version of this, right? And next, we're looking for the Q1. So the Q1 is located on the first half of the um, lower um, range. Okay, so I guess we have to write the values. From the lowest, we have 10. Okay, so 10. And then we have, I guess we have 11 and then two 12s. 11 and 12. And then we have a 13 and a 14. 13 and a 14. After 14, we don't have, we have a 15 here, right here. Okay, 15. And then we have 116, 117, and 118. So all in all, okay, let me divide it into two for emphasis. Okay, so we have the first half, 5, and then the second half, 5. Right? So, same thing here, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, that's the lower half. And then this one is the upper half. Right? So, the median of the lower half is RQ1. Okay? And the median of the second half is our Q3 because the Q2 is the median of our overall data set. But as you can see, we don't have a middle value because it's an even number. So we just take the mean between this the average of 13 and 14. Okay, so Q1 is 12 because this is the middle value. Okay, middle value is 12. And then we have the median or the Q2, the average of 13 and 14, that is 27 over 2 or 13.5. Right? So I already mentioned this one. Right? So next, we have the Q3. That means our Q3 is the middle value of the upper half. It's 16. Okay? All right, it's here. Okay, Q3 is 16. And now we are asked for the IQR, which measures the spread of the middle 50% of the data. It is calculated as Q3 minus Q1. So that's why we solve for the Q3 and the Q1. Right. Q1 is here. So we have the 16 and 12. We just take the difference between 16 and 12. We have 4 microseconds. Okay, so meaning 50% of the value um has this uh has this kind of spread or level of spread, right? Now we are looking for the okay, we are done with the first half. Okay, right. So range Q1, median, and IQR. Now we are looking for the range and standard deviation of F, not T. Therefore, before we perform the same thing that we did earlier, we have to convert our pulses into frequencies. So this is basically what we need. Using the formula, we just take the reciprocal of T. We add another column here. So reciprocal of 10 or 1 over 10 is 0.1. 1 over 11 is 0.09 and so on. So just take the reciprocal of this first column so we can have our values of f. Now, each of these will now be our new x's. So these are new data points. And um, first we have to take the mean. Do we have the mean? Not yet. Okay, so we take the mean of this column, the values in this column. So just add them all together and divide by, sorry, 10. Okay, because we have 10 sample points or data points. So add these numbers together and then divide by 10. Our mean is 0.0749. And now we're ready for the next column that we just take the difference between this value and our mean. 0.0749, we have 0.0251. Next, for the next one, we have this number, this value of x, subtracted by the mean, and the answer is 0.0160. Okay, so you do this repeatedly, assuming you don't have a calculator that can solve for the standard deviation. And then, by the way, for each one, for each value, you take the square on the third, or rather on the fourth column. Okay, so this value, when you square this, we have 0.0006. This one, if you square this, we have this value. This one, if you square this, will be very small. uh, Similar to this. And this one is very small either, right? So if you add them all together, we have a total sum of 0.0021. Okay? So by the way, for decimal places is the minimum usually in statistical computations. Okay? So especially in standard deviation, you should have at least 4 decimal places. Okay, so now we have this sum of all the x minus mu quantity squared. So we substitute that to this one, right? So we substitute, now we have 0.0021. And by the way, we consider this also as a population Um, that's why we don't have a minus 1 at the denominator. So we now substitute and then divide by 10, and then you take the square root. We have we have these values: 0.0145 megahertz or 14.5 kilohertz. So remember micro, when you take the reciprocal of the prefix micro, which is times 10 raised to negative 6, the the equivalent will be times 10 raised to positive 6, which corresponds to the prefix mega. So if you convert this into kilohertz, just move three decimal places to the right. So 1, 2, 3. So we have our final answer is 14.5 kilohertz. But let's see if um okay, let's see if it is being asked. Compute. Okay, doesn't ask. So we can have either of these final answers, either in megahertz or kilohertz. Okay. Um, if we are asked for the range, we can also just take the difference between the highest, which is this one, and the lowest, which is this one. Okay. Now, so that's all for the second example. And now we have the third example. We are asked for, it says, an edge detection algorithm measures the intensity gradients at 8 neighboring pixels, yielding the following values in arbitrary units. So it's like this one. Let me illustrate. So suppose we have um, a matrix of 9 values, meaning corresponding to 9 pixels. Okay, so 8 neighboring pixels. So this number, wait, let me put this, or no, doesn't allow me. Right, and then, right. So that's the number we are talking about here. Intensity gradient. All right, sorry for that. We have the eight neighboring pixels. So all in all, this one has 9 pixels. So this is 1 pixel, one, one. So the 8 neighboring pixels are here. So okay. So the values, it says the values are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, or should we say left to right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay, so that's the sequence when we are talking about pixels. Right? We are asked for to calculate the median gradient, the IQR, and the variance of the gradient values. Okay, so we are looking for the gradient, median, right? So the median, if we arrange this is already sorted, I guess. So it's in correct order already, so no need to sort it out. So we just take the middle value. As you can see, we have a total of 8 data points. So we have an even number of data points. That's why we just take the average between these two. Okay, so 20 and 25, the average of that is 22.5. Right, so that's the median. Next, we are looking for the IQR. So same process earlier. We just locate the median of our. Okay, let's have another color. Uh, okay, we are looking for the median of the lower half and then the median of the upper half. Okay, so for the lower half, we have 4 data points or sample points. So that means we just take the average of 2 middle points. So 10 and 15. The average of 10 and 15 is 25 over 2, 12.5. So it will be 12.5, while this one, the average of 30 and 35 is 32.5. So 12.5 and 32.5. Right? So this is our middle half, or I mean the lower half, and the median is 12.5. This is our upper half. By the way, this is our Q1. And for the upper half, the median is 32.5, and that's our Q3. So the Q3 and Q1, we can now solve for the IQR, which is the difference of the two. 32.5 minus 12.5, we have 20 units. Okay, so we don't have a value or a unit mentioned here, so we just use the word units as the unit. All right. And we are also asked for the variance. Okay, so for the variance, we have a similar formula with standard deviation, but this time we no longer have the square root because um, it's for the variance. The variance is the square of the standard deviation. Okay, so same process actually when we do the the standard deviation. But remember, if we square this, then the square root will be removed or cancelled out. Okay, so similarly, we just list down all the data points. Okay, take their mean, which is 22.5, and on the second column, subtract that from each value of x. Okay, from each sample point. And then each result, you are going to square that on the third column. Okay, so this one square of this one square of this, and so on. Okay, and you take the sum of all these values. That's why it's all in all, that's 1050. And you just substitute that to this entire numerator. Okay, so from this to 1050. And our n is 8, so 1050 over 8, no more square root because it's variance, not standard deviation. So if you divide that, that would be 131.25 units. All right, that's for the second example. I mean, that's a last example already. I didn't notice. Right, so I hope you've learned something. That will be all for our examples for Module 1. Again, I will be attaching a link in our description so that if you want to download this PDF, you may do so. Okay, so thank you for listening. See you in the next example or set of videos.